I know that your viewers will have been watching Atleti with an eye to this United's big chance to smash somebody. They couldn't handle Championship Middlesbrough, but yeah, it's Atleti now, easy peasy. If you look at when Simeone took over, Atleti were mid-table, and he immediately turned a side that didn't concede for 6 matches. Well, this season they've been sort of saying to sides, go and score 1 or 2, and then we'll wake up. Then we'll fight back. That's pathetic at any level, but at the Champions League level, even with an idiosyncratic, unpredictable opponent like United, it's like beckoning to be knocked out. Simeone's style of management is not. It evokes the whole idea of don't judge a book by the cover. If you only ever imagine him as the ferocious, knuckle duster wearing midfielder that you used to see for Inter or Lazio or Seville or Atleti, then you'd be wrong in how you judge him as a current coach. If you only judge him by the Johnny Cash impersonator on the side of the pitch at the Calderon in the old days, or the Wanda Metropolitan now, just St. Vitus dance full of energy and flapping his arms like a giant condor to the crowd to harangue the referee or whatever, or getting sent off, coming onto the pitch in Lisbon in the Champions League final to duke it out with Madrid players. If you judge like that, then you'd be wrong, because he's a clever psychologist. He is a mix of the modern idea that a coach must be strategically good, must be daily good, must be in action daily, which wasn't the case in the football that you and I grew up watching, where a lot of British managers were just that, and the coaches underneath them did the daily work. Simeone's there each day, watching, egging people on, deciding the tempo and the tone. Yeah, he's got assistants at the moment, Nelson Vivas, and he's lost a really good assistant in Mono Burgos, the former goalkeeper of Atleti, who was there for the first league title. But he's a really good man manager and psychologist. What's gone wrong, so that I don't just dispute your idea about Cholo going out of fashion, because things have gone wrong, I think he's become a little bit distracted. He is by far the highest paid manager coach anywhere in football. I mean, by far. He, happily for him, he's got a younger partner now with a very young baby. He's left his previous wife, and you're obviously aware that his grown-up sons are scoring goals for fun at Atleti B or in Serie A. And as such, there's a new beginning for a man at his age, still a relatively young age, whereby a lot of focus is on the well-being of those around him at home, and concerns just twist a little bit. And I think that if you judge by the way in which Atleti have blown hot and cold this season, it's not as if everything is disastrous. It's not as if they aren't able to turn in beautiful performances, because they can. It's overall, from top to bottom, and this goes beyond Simeone, through all his staff and all the players, there's been a relaxation. Life is good, life is sweet, we earn lots of money, the club, the manager, the players' wages. We traditionally go high in Europe, and therefore our conscience is clean, whether we've lifted a trophy in Europe or not recently. And we won the title last season. And you must have seen this. All the viewers must have seen that. When a really big trophy is won, and it's a rarity, there is often a relaxation. Alex Ferguson, when he managed this week's rivals, United, in '99, I was at almost every game during the treble season. And then I was at most of them the following season as a reporter. And he was bitching and moaning from almost month one that winning the treble had relaxed that formidable group of players. Well, it's happened at Atleti, James, and I think that's the principal reason for the oddness of Atleti's season. Again, I recur to what I've learned over 30 years of reporting, and I'm pretty sure you must have witnessed too. The majority of coaches, managers in football, when things go off the rails a little bit, they go back to basics. They reach for touchstone behavior, touchstone ideas. They probably bully players. They cut days off. They intensify the work, and they go, right, if the rainbow the colours are all over the place. We go back to the pot of gold. What are my fundamentals? And Simeone hasn't done that. And I don't criticise him for it. It's just interesting to watch him flailing around a little bit, because he's reached for, to cope with the injury crisis, he's reached for a wide range of players. Excuse me. Several of whom he's played out of position, and consistently played them out of position. To try and cope with the malaise, and there has been one, he has used the widest range of tactical formations, every formation known to man, sometimes 3 or 4 times within a game. And I know that this is an unfair statement, because when a coach is winning campaigns and trophies, and you look back and you say, well, look at those tactical modifications made during a difficult week or during a difficult game, we applaud them. We say, how adaptable, how visionary. When things aren't going well and a coach is reaching for different formations, we're like, that's what's at fault. So sorry, Cholo. But one thing we can say is that while Cholo Simeone is reaching for a wild variety of solutions, and genuinely often making his players unsure about whether they are or whether they should be playing 3 at the back plus wing backs, or 4 at the back during a game, or during a week or a month of the season, and that's an own goal. Whilst he's been doing that, the visual evidence and the statistical evidence and the results evidence tell you that he isn't clear about how to fix things, where you can apply an accurate diagnosis and say, if throughout most of the season so far, Savic, the Montenegrin defender, and Jimenez, the Uruguayan, had been fit for more than just about a dozen games so far in this season, which is pretty advanced now in late February, to play together, the winning record would be higher. That wouldn't solve everything, but it's a pretty fundamental base, and one which I think you could apply to Ralf Rangnick's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side this season too. There are similarities between what's happening in Lancashire and what's happening in the Spanish capital.
How do you think Simeone approaches this game, and how will he go about winning it if he does?
Yeah, I wish I was certain, because there are clear alternatives. Atleti still, at their best, do have the capacity to defend across the pitch, both wide and vertically, in a way that makes it difficult for opponents to play against them. And when that happens, it can be something that goes back to the point we were talking about a minute ago, where the crowd and the players recognize and go, like, okay, yeah, this is Pavlovian. We know what we do in this situation. But the great conundrum about how they apply themselves is that they have players, and they've deliberately gone out and not only sought players, but stockpiled players who like to play on the front foot, and who, on form, have got the capacity to trouble anybody that's left in this Champions League. Maybe not automatically start as favourites against City or Bayern Munich, but there are enough good players in Atleti's squad to say, if Simeone's scouts have looked at United and say, we know exactly where to damage them, then they can give that task easily to, a range of players, starting or off the bench. Doesn't matter whether it's Griezmann, whether it's Correa, whether it's Carrasco, whether it's Lamar. You can continue for another 4 or 5 names and say, those players, whether they play a 90-minute match or they have a power play of 25 minutes at the end of the game, can come on and find space between the lines, run past players, dribble past players, and press high, and confidently press high. So that the tactics will not simply be a reflection of what Simeone thinks is best for Atleti. They have to reflect what he's learned about United. And as such, if you take the template of how United played against Villarreal in 2 games, and when I did a United interview earlier this season, whoever it was representing the club was telling me we could easily have lost. In fact, Chiqui Bergerstein, the City technical director, talked me through those games back when the draw was made, and said, look, we were of the opinion that Villarreal could have beaten Manchester United in both those matches, but they didn't. And Atleti will draw conclusions because Villarreal is a side which has matched Atleti at several stages this season, which has fought out massively entertaining matches against them. And Atleti will draw conclusions from what Villarreal suffered against Manchester United. There's absolutely no question that Atleti will be wary of attacking and pummeling United and then being done twice on the break.